Hi, I'm Isaac Davis Jr. with the University of Arizona Globus Campus. This is Psych 7510 Biological Psychology. Dr. Casey Fireball is the instructor. Today's date is April the 23rd, 2022. And I want to thank you for taking the time to review this video, and I hope you get something out of it. Now we're going to talk about the long-term impact of COVID-19, or as some people call it, coronavirus, to the sensory or motor system. In 2020, the world was forever changed with the introduction of the coronavirus to the planet. Now, in continuing with the long-term impact of COVID-19 to the sensory and motor system, I want to say this, talk a little bit about what is the sensory or the motor system. Well, first of all, the motor and sensory system are closely linked. So there's a correlation between the two. Now, when we think about the senses, you think about things such as your smell, your touch, your vision, hearing, and balance. They all provide valuable information to the brain when they are stimulated and given feedback. But that leads us to the next term. As the name suggests, motor function refers to how the way the brain and body responds to the sensory input. The beginning of a new era, and the new era that I am talking about is the coronavirus or COVID-19. Now, the virus started in 2019 and it started in China. And what was first thought of as a isolated event that was happening overseas became quickly a global pandemic. Because nearly 2 years after it first was discovered, COVID-19 had claimed over the lives of over 200 million people. So that's a lot of people who died from this virus. And it had harmed over 4.6 million people more. Now, the first confirmed cases of COVID-19 was reported to the World Health Organization, and that was during December the 31st, 2019. It wasn't until the 7th of January of 2020 that Chinese authority had discovered a new strain of the virus. By the time March came around of 2020, it became a pandemic. Now, when COVID-19 first emerged, global health authorities, government agencies, and members of the public were unsure about the impact of COVID. We knew it was deadly. We knew that it was causing millions of deaths with people across the globe, but there was still little that was known about the disease. But on March the 1st, 2020, the United Nations made available $15 million, and this is important, in support of the global responses to the COVID-19 outbreak. It wasn't until a week later that the number of COVID-19 cases had reached that time in 2020 to 100,000 people. And in on March the 11th, the World Health Organization had officially declared COVID-19 as a global pandemic. It was almost overnight that COVID um, became such a serious public health problem, and there were steps that we need to do um, as nations in order to prevent the spread of this virus. There are symptoms of COVID-19 that I want to talk to you about. Now, symptoms can be from mild symptoms to life-threatening symptoms. Um, The symptoms usually shows up within 2 to 14 days after being exposed to the virus. The symptoms can range from a variety of signs. Some of the signs that comes with COVID-19 are chills or high temperature. Sometimes a lot of patients had trouble breathing, difficulties with oxygen. So a lot of them had to be put on ventilators because they weren't able to produce oxygen in the brain. Other symptoms was fatigue, lots of chronic pain, muscle aches, headaches, and what was interesting in the first wave of individuals who were impacted by COVID-19 was they lost the their smell. They weren't able to smell anymore, and they could not taste. So lost the smell, lost the taste. So those are definitely functions that we need that impacts the the body, um, and the brain helps to stimulate us with these functions. So those were functions that were no longer available to us due to the virus. A bad case of sore throat was another case. Stuffy nose and congestions, vomiting, sometimes diarrhea was another case, and just other problems of that nature. Now, all this was from the Center of Disease Control and Prevention of this information. And although vaccination, social distancing, and other preventive methods have helped to slow down the spread of this deadly virus, now medical experts are saying that um, there are new insight, new research that's showing that there's some long-term effects of COVID-19 for those who have survived its grisly death. Now, according to Anne Louise Outlander, she's one of the lead study authors and Massachusetts General Hospital neurologist, and she's talking about there's a very importance for neurologists to understand how COVID-19's long effects are impacting individuals, and we need to find possible solutions to those so life would not become debilitating for themselves. And this is something that I'm passionate about since I have had COVID twice. I would like to know um, that there are solutions out there if extreme nerve damage starts to develop. And in according to her study, she finds suggests that some of the long-term patients have damaged their peripheral nerve fibers, and they have damage to their small fiber type or their nerve cells. So it's actually showing some nerve cell damage, which can impact us in many ways. Now it's showing that in a larger group that extreme nerve damage was not found, but in the smaller groups there was for the short term nerve damage were shown and were found in 10 of the patients of, of the 59 of the 59 patients that were studied in this research. So it shows that 10 patients were found to have some kind of small fiber um, damages that can damage that causes chronic pain, and then they also had rare muscle damage as well. So those type of conditions are very debilitating. It can prevent someone from having a normal daily routine, especially if it goes untreated and it worsens. But research also showed that as we continue to study and learn more about the impact of COVID-19 and its effect on patients who are recovering from it, we can look at the long-term impact of this. We can also look at possible treatment. And they looked at out of 11 patients who were given immunotherapies, that 5 patients who received it repeatedly over a period of time appeared to have benefited from this type of treatment. And then over time, 52% of the patients improved through, and none of them, none of them none of them had the same symptoms, and many of the symptoms went away. So that's a great outcome in this study as we look at the long-term effects of COVID-19 to nerve damage in the sensory, that there are ways that we can possibly find solutions so that a person doesn't lead a life that's debilitating to their normacy. Now, I hope you enjoyed the presentation, and I hope you got something out of it. I actually enjoyed researching it and looking into this, as this definitely impacts me. And we'll see you the next time. Thank you.